All right, thanks, Luke. Hopefully I can fix that before my next live stream. Oh, okay. Nice. Why? I wonder why it's echoing all of a sudden. Hmm. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. So what you guys are seeing here is Replit. So that's repl.it. And if you guys don't have a working setup at home, like maybe you only have a Chromebook, you don't have a computer that your parents will let you install Java and Eclipse on, then Replit can be a nice substitute. And it should give you access if you're wanting to do some programming. So this is the interface. As you can see, it does support graphic user interface, the GUI. This is where we left off last time, where we were able to generate the board, and then on a left click, it's revealing the number of bombs that surround it. And on a right click, we can toggle the flags. So it pretty much works the same way as if it was local to your machine, right? Sort of. So on the left side here, these are going to be where your classes are. So I'm working on main.java, board.java. As you can see, this is how you flip between all the different files. Let's look at JPEGs, or I guess PNGs are not supported, but everything else seems good. So we're going to try to use this today to see how good it is, and figure out the quirks. You know, maybe I can suggest it, and then based on our experience today, I can give some pointers as to, you know, how to make it work the way that we want it to work. Okay, so let's go back to the code. I want to be able to toggle these flags. Right now I can right click them, but then it stays as a flag, so I can't turn them off. So now I want to be able to turn them off. So I think what I'm going to do is on a right click, I want to change the status of the tile. So I'm going to go to my tile class and add some sort of status attribute. So in status is equal to 0. And then on a left click, I want to set that to a 1 or something. Well, I think it's only flag versus not flag, right? So maybe I'll just do like boolean flagged. And then by default, we want that to be false. So then the other thing is I'm going to have a toggle here, public void toggle command, where I can invoke toggle and flag or unflag it. So anytime this method runs, it should try to toggle the state between flag and unflag. So flagged is equal to not flagged. And then if flagged, this is where we're going to set the icon. That's set icon, new image icon. So the only issue now is, you know, is it going to give us auto corrections and auto suggest? So we're using a lot of libraries here, and so it's going to be a problem since you typically don't memorize libraries. You kind of just use your IDE to help you out. So we'll see. Flag.png, else this dot set icon to, well, I wonder if we can set it to null. So we don't know. So right now, we don't get that immediate feedback right away of anything happening. So it's a little different. We'll see if we can stick to it. So if I run it again, I wonder if it's going to automatically run the new code, or if we have to do different things. Well, actually, we haven't really invoked it yet. On the lower half of the screen is kind of like your console. So it looks like that. So we'll get going. Okay, so I haven't broken anything yet. but now it's time to call toggle. So we're going to go back to main, board, and on the right click, this is where we have our right click command. Instead of doing this here, I'm going to say t.toggle. So again, take a look, right? It didn't auto suggest toggle. So it's a little different. It might be harder if you have a problem like remembering things. So these class files that are created, these are the compiled versions of the Java file. So if you want to make sure that it really recompiles, we want to delete the class files. Of course, you don't want to accidentally delete your real class, right? Your .java files. So this should force the entire program to recompile with the changes that we just made. So I'm going to run it again. Let's see, hopefully it works. And then of course there is a lag. Okay, so now the status that I'm getting is this right here. And so the errors that you have are going to be here. So now it can't recognize image icon. So again, it's a little different. It doesn't auto-suggest and it doesn't correct for us. That's because we have to import the image icon library as a part of tile, since now we are referring to it. So we're going to do that again, and hopefully it's much more successful. Exit status. Okay, tile, no class found. Main.java 4. Board. So something didn't compile. Okay, so I'm going to delete the class files one more time. So as you can see, I mean, definitely have to do a lot more this time around. Okay, so we'll try again. But maybe it'll force you guys to kind of be more careful. I'm not sure. To display, okay, compiling. I see that tile class was compiled, which is good. No errors so far. And so there it is. So on a left click, the number should show up. And then on a right click, which should give us a flag. So now the truth, not the truth, the moment of truth would be, can we toggle it? Yes, we can. So every right click, we can now toggle having an image icon or not having an image icon. So just to recap, we added that under our tile class. We added a toggle function, and we also added an attribute called flagged. So every time the toggle method runs, flag gets flipped, right? So if it was false, it becomes true. If it was true, it becomes false. And then based on the status of the flag, we're either showing a flag icon or nothing. So there's that. Okay, so now instead of revealing the tiles, the number of mines surrounding it, we have to do the second part of Minesweeper, which is if you left click on a tile that doesn't have a mine, it has to actually, or it should reveal its surroundings. So first things first is if it's a 0, I don't want to display the number. Let's see here. And then I wonder if we should also like add a helper method within the tile class. What shall we do? Guess we'll see. So this is where it is right now, right? We're changing the text But I think, because I don't really want to change, I don't want to show it unless it's a number or something. And so we're going to go here. And also we have to like add a loose method or something. So if the tile is a mine, then the player actually lost because you can't reveal mines. So left clicking on a mine will set it off. However, if it's not a mine, this is where we're going to do the recursion part, or we're going to try to do recursion. Let's see if we can do it, right? So the algorithm that I'm going to suggest would be this. Let me just reveal all the numbers here for now. So if we make it to a non-mine, like this one right here, or potentially this one, right? Well, I guess for sure this is not a mine. So if we make it here, what we want to do is invoke a method that would say, okay, I want you to reveal all of the squares that are 0 that are immediately touching the tiles, the original tile, and then the tiles that are immediately touching that original tile that you clicked will do the same thing. So this one will say, okay, go to the immediate tiles, reveal them or disable them, and also tell them to tell their surrounding tiles to reveal themselves if it's possible. And so let's kind of just play Minesweeper real quick. Minesweeper. And show you what I mean. Oh gosh. Oh. Alright, so here it is. I'll do the easy one, right? So that's what happens when I click. As you can see, all the ones that do not have bombs, I believe, will turn into disabled tiles. And then the first tile that is non-zero is revealed. So we'll do this again. I'm going to click this corner, right? This corner, and then it clears everything up until it hits a tile that says it has a surrounding mine. So let's go ahead and do that. How should we do it? Why don't we do it by, how should we do it? We'll add a helper method, I believe, here. So this is where we're generating the mines. Why don't we add a helper method called public void? Let's make sure I'm scrolled all the way up. Public void reveal. Okay, so when I reveal, I want to start off with a row and column. So this is going to be, okay, so I'm trying to reveal, for example, at row 0, 0. And so starting at that location, we're going to see if we are good to go. And we're going to invoke this method on a left click if it is not a mine. So if it is a mine, it's game over. We probably need to reveal the entire board. So why don't we, actually it's probably easier to just do a game over for now. For game over, we'll just reveal all the bombs. So we'll add something here that says public void game over. Okay, and then I believe it was called board. So on the invocation of game over, we're going to reveal all of the mines on the board. For int size equal to 0, I'll call it row. R is less than board.length. R++. For int c is equal to 0. C is less than board of 0.length. C++. So if there is a mine at that location, board RC that is mine, then we are gonna toggle, or actually we're gonna reveal the mine, right? And so we're gonna go board at rc.set icon to new image icon mine.png. So very easily we should be able to add that logic and then immediately invoke it. So again, on a left click, if it is a mine, we're gonna say game over. You clicked on a mine, game over. And so now I want to make sure that the board class gets recompiled. So I'm gonna delete this class file for board. I'm gonna stop the program and then run it again. And hopefully it doesn't give us any errors. Alright, I've got some errors expected, else board 144, got some typos. So you're gonna run into all these issues where you're not gonna catch it right away. So for example here, so we are gonna go with an else for now, not an else if. Sorry, I had set that up so I could add a different some different logic, but then I forgot to complete it. Alright, compiling. Alright, so here is the board. Now it shows up again. If we left click, unless we find a bomb. Okay, where are the bombs? There's 10 of them, right? Okay, so let's see. We gotta add some debugging outputs here to make sure that we're actually invoking our game over. And so we're gonna go here. System.out print game over. Alright, and then again, so this is kind of annoying. I wish there was a way to kind of force it to run new code, but I'm finding it much more consistent that it runs the new updated code if you actually delete the class files. But it's one of those things where, yeah, you're running everything on the web, so just kind of be grateful that's actually... Okay, so we have a game over here. However, it did not display our icons, so that's no bueno. So I got an output, and it said game over. So I'll show you the console here. So this is where my console is. So then I can show you guys quickly what it's saying on this end. Okay, let's see if it's going to show us everything that I've just had. But in any case, I see that I can print out game over. However, the icon for the button did not change. So let's go back here. New image icon is mine. So I was able to make it to game over. Sorry, now I'm getting confused. There we go, game over. Okay, well, if we know that we can make it here, there are a couple errors that we could run into. Maybe it doesn't see my file. But I'm going to call, I want to make sure that we can actually invoke those methods. I guess we already have one called display mines. See, I forgot already. So really, we don't have to do game over. We can just call display mines. And that's what happens when you program something a couple days ago and you already forget. So I'm going to delete this one more time and then recompile. Yes, delete. I mean, the good news is it does kind of slow me down a little bit, right? So if you're trying to keep up and are coding on your end, you could actually potentially follow much better than if I wasn't slowed down by the interface. Alright, so recompiling, you guys don't see that part of the screen right now, but it should be recompiling. Okay. So it displayed all of them by calling display mines. So for whatever reason, why don't I have mines on the screen? Weird. Count mines? Are we calling count mines? Yes. Count. We're calling count mines. We're calling generate mines. Okay, so I'm gonna redo this and kind of do some debugging here. Alright, so right now what we're having issues with is the fact that we can't display the mines once the game is supposed to be over. That would be the case where you click on a mine, right? So you can't left click on a mine. And so right now, my display mines doesn't actually work for some reason. So I'm gonna go to my tile class to make sure that our mines are working. So display, okay, so that's good to go. I'm calling display mines right away, and let's kind of review what display mines is doing here. So again, it should be invoking this part, otherwise it should be setting the text. So I'll add an else statement there so that essentially if it's a problem with our file, then it should just leave that tile empty. So all the empty tiles essentially will be the bombs. Or if I think this is the issue, I can do set text to like star or asterisk. So there's multiple ways to kind of circumvent the whole need to use the mine JPEG or PNG. Alright, so I added that under display mines. I want to make sure this recompiles, so I'm going to delete the class file and run it again. But anyway, so as you can see, it is slower, but the beauty is you can do it on the browser. So you can do it on an iPad if you wanted to. Chromebooks, right? A lot of people are on Chromebooks. Alright, so there you go. Cool. So it is our mine.png that's not working for whatever reason, which is okay, because then we'll just do asterisk instead. So I'm going to go ahead and disable displaying the entire board, and then we're going to try it again on a left click. Alright, so I'm going to disable that default behavior, and then now it should only do that when, oh hey, it deleted the board class. That's nice. So that time it actually deleted it. That's really what we should be seeing, is that it should be deleting the class files anytime you, oh, just kidding. So it's not showing up here. I can't delete it if that's the case, which means it's not running this. Where is it? I'm going to refresh it. Let's see what happens if we refresh on Replit. I'm going to delete that because I don't know why that's there anymore. Okay, so board.class, delete, run. As a consequence of using Replit though, now you guys are thinking about this compiled part of the code, right? Instead of just living in the world of the .java files. So that has to be converted into bytecode, which is then run by the virtual machine. And so it's still displaying them for some reason. I'm going to go to board.java to make sure that we're not invoking anything Okay, so for whatever reason it didn't save. Weird. I'm gonna delete that one more time and recompile. Whew. Definitely much slower, eh? So I don't know, we're gonna make it to our 30-minute limit here. So maybe we'll do like 40 minutes of coding today. And then, I don't know, if we have to postpone this until later, we shall. William's message, because after displaying in mind, she displayed text. Oh, thanks, William. Sorry. I thought I commented that code, so that's why. All right, so now when I hit a mine, it should. I'm just being really lucky right now, I guess, because I'm not hitting any mines. Okay, there's got to be some mines. Oh, there you go. When I want to lose, I can't lose easily. Great. All right, so cool. So we can reveal the mines. So right now, so as an update, we can lose now. So the next part is the harder part, which is our recursion. So I think I'll still call it reveal. I'm gonna cut this and paste it closer to my action listener so that I can show you what part of the code I'm changing on the same screen without having to scroll everywhere. But yeah, you're right, I should be reading the comments. Alright, so reveal. If it is not a mine, this is where we have to invoke reveal. So again, reveal will say, okay, if you don't land on a mine, you're gonna query the surrounding tiles to see whether or not you should reveal them as well. And you're gonna reveal them as long as they are not a mine, or as long as they don't have a mine surrounding them. I think that's what it does. So here we're gonna reveal, and then it would be t dot, what did I call it? T dot R and C. Oops. No, why does it not save where I was scrolled to? So that's kind of annoying. It doesn't save where you scrolled to. T dot R, T dot C. Okay, so we're passing something to that helper method that says, starting at this location, you're going to try to reveal surrounding tiles that are zero. Okay. So let's do the recursion part, right? So the base case. Every recursive method has a base case. Base case is when you have nothing to do. So at what point, what values of R and C do we stop recurring or recursing, calling the method recursively? So that's the thing, right? I would say if row and column either go out of bounds, or if the tile you landed on has a non-zero value, then you're done. So we're going to go, if R is less than 0, or R is greater than board.length, or column is less than 0, or column is greater than, I think greater than or equal to on the upper end here. So you can go out of bounds on the lower end and the upper end, right? Greater than or equal to, C is less than 0, column is greater than board of 0.length. Hopefully I don't make any typos. And then the other thing is, if the tile you land on is a non-zero value, then all we do is reveal it like that number. Or actually, I'll handle that separately. So if you go out of bounds, we're just going to return. Else if the elements at row column that if the counts for that tile, that's what we're trying to do now. So now I gotta look, what did I call it? I did call it count. Oh, hey, it did save my scrolling that time around. So board.c, if the count is not equal to 0, then this is where we don't call the method recursively also. We have to reveal the number there. Dot set text to board rc dot count plus. So remember, set text is requiring a string, so I have to concatenate it with an empty string to force it to kind of convert it behind the scenes. Okay, so that's where we are. What time is it? 11:30. So now the recursive part. So the recursive part is to have the method call itself on the north, south, east, and west. So we're going to say reveal r minus 1 c, reveal r plus 1 c, reveal r c minus 1, reveal r c plus 1. So this should be north, this should be south, east, and west. Hopefully this will work. So again, the logic is if you call the method on a tile that needs to stop the recursive call, it should stop the recursive call, right? Otherwise, it's going to say, hey, try to do the same thing to the north tile, south, east, and west. Let's see if we have any typos. Oof, takes a long time for these typos. Else without, else if. Let's see here, line 141. Oh, okay. Seems okay. Okay, so there's a 0 there, but it didn't invoke our helper method, so that's not cool. So the question is, did I call reveal? I did call reveal right here. So I'm going to add a printout here to make sure it's actually being invoked. Revealing. And then stop that. The other issue could potentially be something here. So this semicolon there probably shouldn't exist, right? I'm going to delete this just in case. And then let's try recompiling. William, so in terms of the northeast, southeast, northwest, southwest, etc. So those will actually get handled when you go to the north tile, the south tile, the east tile, and the west tile. And so let's see if I can show you what I mean. Paint. So again, that's a very good question, right? So you've got your, this is the original tile that you clicked on, and then you're saying, what about these guys right here? Well, remember, it's recursively calling the same method on the north end. So when it's on the north tile, that north tile is going to go, hey, check your left, check your right, and then check your north. The last thing we also want to do is to make sure that when you try to reveal a problem, like if the number is already showing, you don't want to do anything also. So another stopping point is, and this is going to cause infinite recursion, right? If we go to the north tile and you tell the north tile to go to the south tile is then going to say, hey, go to the north tile. And so you have that going on infinitely, which is going to cause an infinite recursion to happen. So what we want to do also is say that you want to stop if the text is not blank, or board at rc dot Is there a get text? I hope there's a get text. It's greater than 0. Well, let's see if there's a get text for a J button. So these are one of the things that you can't do right away. It doesn't auto-suggest code, so we don't know if there is a get text method. So it's a little bit harder, and potentially you might need to have the documents up somewhere or something that tells you whether or not that class may have. Okay, so it's saying revealing, but it's not actually revealing. But at least we don't have infinite recursion, and it compiled. So to make sure that I'm running the most recent code, I'm going to delete this one more time and then recompile. And then I think we'll call it good after this one. So once we figure out this problem, we might be good to go. Revealing. Okay, so I think we're going to have infinite recursion going. Yeah, I definitely have infinite recursion here. Stack Overflow, stop. So the idea of going north and south thing, right? So, how do we stop that from happening? Is actually, that's a harder problem than I thought it was. So again, the issue is the whole, okay, once I'm here, what do I do? Let's see here. I think I also want to say that you want to also stop if there's a mine there, right? So you probably don't want to continue if there's a mine. If the board at RC that is mine. So if there's a mine there, if you go out of bounds, if the button's text is already set to something, then you don't want to do anything. So tons of cases to handle. Now, did it actually run the new code is the question. Okay, so at least we didn't have infinite recursion there. Nothing there. But there it is, or infinite recursion. Stack Overflow, right? So we keep on recursively invoking. It's probably that deal with the north and south thing. So let's see if we can figure out a better solution for that, which is we can't invoke north, south, east, west without checking some other things. Where was I? Generate mines, board, mouse clicked, reveal. Okay. So we want to be able to stop. Well, how shall we do that? Let's see. It's not equal to 0. So maybe it's in the order that we call this. Okay, so let's see here. We want it to not call south, but if we invoke a method, we'll actually just follow the logic of the method calls. So essentially, if you've got a tile here, let's track what happens when we click on this tile. Let's say there's not a bomb there, so we're going to reveal or disable that button. Oh, you know, maybe we should do is disabled. We should disable things too. So we're going to do board RC dot set enabled to false. So right now it's a shot in the dark as far as these helper methods, and because it's the best that we can do for now, right? Since we don't have auto suggest, it's kind of much harder to program when you're using all these libraries. Okay, we hit a bomb. Okay. Um, so anytime I reveal a tile, I want it to disable it. And it doesn't seem like this is disabling it. So I'm going to refresh my screen and I'm going to delete that class file to make sure it recompiles. Delete. Stop. So maybe in the future, so I wanted to do this with Replit to show you guys that you can do programming with GUI on Replit. But as you can see, it's a lot harder to actually go through the problem solving with all of these things that we don't have. So it is harder, and we still have our infinite recursion going. It's harder to kind of debug. So it's one of those things. Pros and cons of using online compilers. I want to figure out if something is disabled. I want to also exit out. So Java J button. I'm just looking at the documentation for J button to make sure I can call the disabled, enabled. So I'm looking for a helper method for a J button class that tells me whether or not it's enabled or disabled. And I don't know what it is. Good news though, I do have Eclipse on my computer, and so I can just quickly launch that version of it. So I know right away. So let me load this part. Minesweeper board. So let's see what we have. Dot is enabled. So I guess there is something called is enabled. Cool. I could have guessed that, I suppose. So if board of RC that is enabled is equal to false, we also return right away so that we don't have infinite recursion going. Oh no, I wanted to delete that class file first. Delete that and then run. But maybe we'll end this here. The main idea is, how do we use Replit to do the same thing if you don't have a proper setup at home? I don't want to say proper, but you know what I mean by proper. Because you can still do a lot of problem solving and a lot of learning without a proper computer. So let's left click. Takes a minute. Oh man, really? I just happened to hit a mine. When I'm trying to lose, I can't lose. When I'm not trying to lose, I lose. Can't win today. Too funny. Revealing. No. So the reason that didn't reveal anywhere is because we didn't hit any zeros. So I really want to figure out where the zeros are. I wonder if we should cheat and just show the zeros. Oh gosh. Takes a minute. Oh no, I didn't. Oh wait, no, I didn't have to recompile. Forgot. So I wish there was a good way to kind of do this. I went out of bounds, which means I did cover something. Index out of bounds for length 8. Oops, we can't do this here. because of the fact that we're trying to access RC, we want to make sure we don't go out of bounds before accessing RC. So we'll add another OR there instead of creating a separate if statement. Delete this class file and then run. So maybe this is our last run of it, and then I'll figure out that issue there on Eclipse and just update the code with the proper recursive method. No, seriously? I just happened to hit a bomb. Oh my goodness. Display. Alright, one more time, and then we can call it quits. Okay, so we have, I believe, a Stack Overflow there. Surprisingly enough, it didn't break the actual program, which is funny. So that means there's some zeros in here. Yeah, so there are some zeros there. And then the other issue is that it's not actually disabling our buttons, though. So I don't like that at all. It should be disabling the buttons when we reveal them. So that's probably because we didn't disable them here. Or the... See, I thought we did that. Let's see here. For that row call dot set enabled. Okay. Dot set enabled to false. That would be why it's not running into that base case. And then run it again. Alright, one last try. Oh my gosh. Oh, yeah. I gotta figure out the audio issue that you guys are talking about, because I have to stream later on for some people. Alright, so we were able to reveal some numbers. That's good. At least it didn't cause an infinite recursion thing to happen. But that part did, right? So I was able to reveal more than one number here, which was good. But when I hit here, it should have found that this was a 0 and continued from there. But man, I really want to figure out this problem though. Let's see here. If board is not equal to 0, we reveal it. Oh, you know what? We forgot to set the text. Or we also have to disable the current one, right? So there's some things that we're missing. If we land on the tile that is a 0, not only do we want to recursively invoke the method from that tile, we have to disable that tile so it doesn't revisit it. Poop. Delete. And then run. Okay, one last try. Let's hope I don't hit a bomb. I bet. Reading an email. Ooh. So there it is. It revealed, because it found a 0, right? So just before we were about to quit, it started working. So in this case, this is actually correct because I clicked on something and then it recursively visited the tiles that were 0s and then immediately stopped at the tile that had a bomb count. And it produced this result. So we know that I can flag this because all of these tiles are saying that there's a bomb. If I have a mine here, it would satisfy this condition. So these ones are hard though. That's annoying. But anyway, at least we got to that part. We solved our infinite recursion issue, and really the only thing that you guys would have to complete for yourself would be to check whether or not the game has been solved. So I would say you should, maybe you could create a helper method or something, public void check 1 or something. So then on your own you could do, traverse the 2D array of tiles, check if the number of flag tiles is the same as the number of total mines. And so in order to do this, you probably want to keep track of the number of mines that you added, which I think in our case is always 10 anyway, so you could do that. And then you would traverse the array and say, okay, if it's been flagged, right, so you'll check all the flagged tiles. There is a flag attribute, so you could use that. So if the number of flag matches the number of tiles left on the screen and the total number of bombs. So you don't want to say, okay, let's say I flagged 10 of them. It doesn't mean that you've won, it just means you flagged 10. So you also want to check the number of enabled tiles. So if there are other enabled tiles, then they're not done. William, should we do snake next? Alright, yeah, let's do snake sometime next week. It's a good idea. But anyway, we've kind of solved it. Almost got to finish it. But thank you guys for sticking with me. I know today was a different time, so maybe we'll come back to our regular 10 a.m. spot next week. And then we'll see what happens from there. Thanks for joining. And hopefully I'll fix the mouse stuff. The mic. Goodbye. End stream.